Hi everyone, Carrie the Hyper Quilter. Last video for Game Over. We're going to tackle that outer border. Last time I left you with putting together the inside of the quilt and then that first border that went on. That border was pretty simple, so I let you go on to do that for yourselves. I didn't have any big tips on that. It's a border, right? So this border is a little more complicated. And in piecing this border, I gave you some directions in the pattern to do it in small units, not to do long strips and then cut them up and then piece them all back together. The reason I did that was to keep the margin of error low for you. I find personally that if I piece it in smaller pieces, I'm going to have more straight seams and less wonky ones to have to worry about. So in order to help keep everything nice and straight, I try to set myself up for success from the very beginning. I would rather have to just trim a little bit from each side instead of trying to go down a long strip set that I made and make sure that everybody's nice and straight. I mean, you can go wrong in so many places in pressing if you don't sew every other one on in an opposite direction. There's just all these things. Your feed dogs can make it pull funny. Like, it's just easier to make smaller sets and then trim those down to size. So you're going to go ahead and do that. I give you the directions on how to keep the order and where to bounce your color back and how to do that. The reason I did it that way was because I really wanted the corners to be solid. I wanted all four corners to be the same because it anchors the quilt and it helps direct the eye right back towards the inside of the quilt. So that being said, you can choose to put them in whatever order you want. I like rainbow order. It's one of my favorite things in the world. If anybody out there knows me, you know that I'm all about rainbows and glitter. So that being said, you can do it in any order you want. This is the order I did. And it's the order that the directions are going to give you. Also, your applique, you're going to take that section so that it mirrors. This is the bottom border. This is the top border. I did the applique by taking this section here and using it to cut out my applique so that that color is repeated top and bottom in the same places. So that's the way that it's written out in the pattern. Again, it's your quilt. Do it the way you want to. I just want to give you some tips along the way so that I can see what else other people are creating with my idea. Now, I'm going to show you a couple of little things how I get ready to get this outer border on. You're doing it as a whole border unit. You're taking 3 different borders, piecing them all together, and then putting them on the quilt. That makes it easier to miter that final corner. So the first thing we're going to do is look at how I mark so that I can successfully miter my corner, and then how I go about getting everything pinned together. Okay, to start getting ready to get your outer border on, the first thing I'm going to do is take my quilt top and I'm going to measure a 1/4 inch, draw a line, and a 1/4 inch from this edge and draw a line. And it's going to make an X in my corner. This X is where I am going to start and stop my stitching. I'm not going to stitch the border all the way off to the edge for either side. It's going to start and stop right where that X intersects. So there you're going to take a couple locking stitches when you start, and you're also going to do a little back tack also. Don't leave your stitch line loose. Make sure that you secure that. Now once you have done that, find the middle of your quilt by folding it in half, and I've already done that, but you can see here that I have taken my nail and I've just given it a little crease so that I know where the middle is, and I'm going to use where the color bounces back. This is the middle of my border. So I'm going to start pinning by placing the first pin right in the center of this border. So I'm going to match these up center to center. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to see where, I'm going to try and lay out one side nice and flat where I'm at. It's awkward because I'm trying to film at the same time. All right, so I'm going to find where the relative spot where this meets up. And I'm going to place a pin right in my start-stop spot. It's also another reminder, another visual cue, because when I get to that pin, I'm going to have to take it out. All right, so now that I know where that one is, it's right in the middle of this orange piece here. So now I'm going to go to my other side, and I am going to pin it in the same spot. All right, so now that I've got both of these pinned in the same spot on either end, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pin the rest of my border on, easing in any fullness or kind of smoothing things out as I go along. I'm going to sew these on with the bottom, the border on the bottom near my feed dogs, because that'll help me with any easing that I need to do along the way. I'm going to do this on all 4 sides. Once I get all 4 sides on, then I will come back and show you how to miter everybody and make your corners look super cool. And then you can do the happy, perfect mitered corner dance too. All right, I'll see you soon. All right, it's all done. I'm ready to get it quilted and be done with this one. So it's game over for game over. Thanks for joining me for the quilt along. If you have any questions, drop me a line. You remember you can join me on Facebook in my Facebook quilt, the Hyper Quilter. Also, you can find me on Instagram as Hyper Quilter. And of course, subscribe to my YouTube station. There will be more things coming. Now that I've got this off my plate, I can get to some new things. So leave me a message, give me a thumbs up, whatever, and I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks so much. Bye.